hard to find words that do justice to our mother's incredible spirit. She was a woman of grace, strength, and kindness. Someone who always put herself or others before herself. I want to celebrate the life of the most extraordinary woman I've ever known, my mother. She was my guiding light, my biggest cheerleader, and my dearest friend throughout my life. We are lucky to feel grief because we love someone enough to feel grief. I'm going to read a short speech. It was done by Alexander M. Schindler. It's called Hold Fast and Let Go. Understand this paradox, and you stand at the very gate of wisdom. Here are two truths to live by. We also did this at our father's passing. The art of living is to know when to hold fast and when to let go. For life is a paradox. It enjoins us to cling to its many gifts, even while it ordains their eventual relinquishment. A man comes into this world with his fist clenched, but when he dies, his hand is open. Surely we ought to hold fast to life, for it is wondrous and full of a beauty that breathes through every pore of God's one earth. We know that this is so, but all too often we recognize this truth only in our backward glance when we remember what was and then suddenly realize that it is no more. We remember a beauty that faded, a love that waned, but remember with far greater pain that we did not see that beauty when it flowered, that we failed to respond with love to love when it was tendered. Here then is the first pole of life's paradoxical demands on us. Never be too busy for the wonder and the awe of life. Be reverent before each dawning day. Embrace each hour. Seize each golden minute. Hold fast to life, but not so fast that you cannot let go. This is the second side of life's coin, the opposite pole of its paradox. We must accept our losses and learn how to let go. This is not an easy lesson to learn, especially when we are young and think that the world is ours to command, that whether we desire with the full force of our passionate being can, nay will, be ours. But then life moves along to confront us with realities, and slowly but surely this second truth dawns upon us. At every stage of life we sustain losses and grow in the process. We begin our independent lives only when we emerge from the womb and lose its protective shelter. We enter a progression of schools, then we leave our mothers and fathers and our childhood homes. We get married and have children and have to let them go. We confront the death of our parents and our spouses. We face the gradual or not so gradual waning of our own strength. And ultimately, as the parable of the open and closed hand suggests, we must confront the inevitability of our own demise, losing ourselves, as it were, all that we were dreamed to be. But why should we be reconciled to life's contradictory demands? Why fashion things of beauty when beauty is fleeting? Why give our hearts in love when those we love will ultimately be torn from our grasp? In order to resolve this paradox, we must seek a wider perspective, viewing our lives as through windows that open on eternity. Once we do that, we realize that though our lives are finite, our deeds on earth weave a timeless pattern. Life is never just a being, it is a becoming, a relentless flowing on. Our parents live on through us, and we will live on through our children. The institutions we build endure, and we will endure through them. The beauty that we fashion cannot be dimmed by death. Our flesh may perish, our hands may wither, but that which they create in beauty and goodness and truth lives on for all time to come. Kora Emily Kelly Maynard was born 27 May 1934 in Fort Fairfield to Eunice Altina Morrill and Reuben Kelly. Our mother, mother-in-law, sister, grandmother, great-grandmother, and friend to all passed on 20 February 2026 at the age of 91 years, 8 months, and 24 days. She would have been 92 years old today. Today we are to commit her ashes and her soul to God's everlasting care. Mom was a very generous and giving person. She would always put others' needs before her own. She would sacrifice to satisfy her family's needs. She was a hard worker, always working from sunrise to the late evening hours. I'd like to share a few memories I'll cherish forever, memories of Mom laughing and smiling. Living on Hines Street in Washburn, being a jokester from my earliest years, about 4 years old, I was jumping out the bedroom window and coming in through the kitchen, back into the bedroom, snickering every time I'd pass Mom while she was doing dishes and say, "Hi, Mom." After several circuits, she stopped me with a hearty laughter, saying, "What are you up to?" No anger, just joy, and seeing her son having fun. Later, we moved from Hines Street to Main Street, and the amazing combination house over their service station our parents built. On weekends, we would normally go to our camp on St. Floyd Lake, an hour's drive away. She would pack up bedding, clothes, and food, and off we would go. We would sing on the trip, and she always made sure we had treats, and we would often stop at a small country store in Portage Lake for ice cream and chips. After getting to the camp, she would remake all the beds because of the houseflies that always found a way into the camp, and start preparations for dinner. She never stopped working, but it was always in a good mood with smiles and laughter. After getting the camp all tidied up, she'd often accompany us on our walk down to the spring to get gallon jugs of water together. She made everything fun. These were joyous trips. Mom always cooked us breakfast before school while juggling work in the garage. One morning when I was probably 15 or 16, I was complaining about how Mom was flipping the pancakes onto my plate because it wasn't the hot side up. I was sitting with my back to Mom, and all of a sudden, she dumped the pancake batter over my head for my complaining. Stressed? Probably. Mad? No. Laughing? Yes. I cried out, "Mom!" We both started laughing, and I never complained about the way she served the pancakes again. Mom was tough, but filled with love. Mom always had time for her children. Ed reminded me of all the home basketball games that she attended, and how one time when I had dove onto the floor to get the basketball, she jumped up thinking I had been shoved and was ready to come to my rescue. But Ed had to tell her it was just part of the game. She was always protective of us. Harry remembered all the times during the period of 96 through 2005 when Mom would go with him to Portland when Harry went to his work meetings. He really enjoyed their joyous times staying in the Embassy Suites Hotel and sharing meals. Mom enjoyed getting to know and hanging out with Harry's coworkers. Mom enjoyed talking to everyone. She loved having their made-to-order breakfasts at the hotel. She especially enjoyed the pool. As Harry said, she would laugh at herself when she couldn't remember something. Mom was very pleasant to be with, and he will always cherish those times. He has a voicemail message of Mom singing happy birthday to him and frequently plays it with warmth in his heart. As Mom got on in her years, she would always strike out in song and would always be singing "You Are My Sunshine." Mom and I would always sing over the phone on my way to and from work, but as she got older and started to forget some of the words to songs, Malvin and Mom would just make up words. Singing kept her happy. Malvin was especially fortunate to spend the last 13 years daily with her and telling her that he loved her. And being for her every day, even when she forgot who he was. Mom never complained. Even while I was in college, she had an operation on her thyroid and never told us because she didn't want us to worry. I found out after the operation. I have to say that Mom was also daring and adventurous. My parents bought a Piper Cub tailwheel airplane. I enjoyed the time we spent at the airfield, but I mainly remember watching Mom practice flying. Days after she soloed, where she was able to fly by herself, I remember her telling me She was so scared that she wouldn't find her way back to the airfield. Mom loved flight and often mentioned that if there was reincarnation, she would love to come back as a bird so she could soar through the clouds looking down at Earth. Mom was the fourth child of 3 girls and 1 boy. Her father passed 10 May 1936 of tuberculosis in the Presque Isle Sanatorium when she was only 1 year, 11 months old. So she grew up under the loving care of her mother, Eunice Kelly, who was a school teacher, and her aunts and uncles. Her older brother, Melvin Andrew Kelly, was born 10 September 1929 and passed at the age of 91 years, 7 months. Mom outlived her brother by a month and 2 days. Ruth Eloise Kelly was born 2 August 1931 and passed at the age of 3 years, 9 months. Her older sister, Lois Adelaide Kelly, was born 10 November 1932 and is with us here today and is still going strong in Caribou at 93 and a half years old. Mom married our father, Harry Cecil Maynard Jr., on 26 June 1953 when she was just 18 years, 7 months old. Dad was 26 years old. He was 6 years, 11 months, and 5 days older than Mom. Dad passed away on 4 April 1990 at the age of 62 years, 9 months, and 13 days. So Mom lived without her husband for 35 years, 9 months, and 25 days. She often referred to these as her carefree days. Mom was by Dad's side every day of their married life, raising 4 boys, working with him in our family's businesses of service stations and fuel delivery. I can recall Mom answering Dad's call of, "Kora, Kora," so many times. She pumped gas, washed windows, balanced tires, drove to town for parts, kept the books, etc. She was a Kora of all trades. During the sunset years of their service station business, Mom went to work for other organizations like Burrell's News Service and McCain's. She was working the night shift at McCain's when Dad passed away. Sometime after his death, she renovated our Grand Maynard's house and moved in there and sold the house/service station. Her last job was working for the Census Bureau, conducting surveys, which she immensely enjoyed. She loved meeting the people in the surveys and made many friends who would invite her in for meals and to visit again. We remember Mom as a kid at heart, seeing her face with a contagious smile as she watched us grow up. We remember her as the mother who gave us freedom. As we would go out the door, she would say, "Don't do anything I wouldn't do." And I'd reply, "Mom, you have all us boys." She gave us the opportunity to go to college, to leave home. She reared us and set us free. Although we were gone from home, she was always there to take care of us. If we needed something, she was always able to provide it. She was always thinking of us and taking care of us. I especially remember all the frozen lasagna and molasses cookies she would send to us at college. Mom always had our best interests at heart. Mom was strong-willed and knew when it was best to bite her tongue to keep tense times calm. She knew how to nurture a family. Mom could always do things for you and make you feel like she owed it to you. Maybe because we always remember the best things about those we love. But I can't think of a time that our mother didn't do what she thought was right, what she thought was best for us. Mom, we have to tell you that we really respect you for the sacrifices you made. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but continuously for us, your children. And Mom, we have to say thanks for the sacrifices you've made. You will always be in our thoughts and with us, and we hope that you can share our lives as we go on. Mom lived her life to the fullest. I never heard her complain about her life, and for that we are grateful. Mom, we just want to tell you today that we love you. We always have and always will. We feel like we owe you something and don't know how to repay you. We all know that life is short and that we live but by the grace of God. The fact that Mom was always proud of us and respected us will always mean more to us than anything else. That our mother was able to pass from this world peaceably in her sleep consoles our hearts. The last words we heard her say was that she was scared as they began to intubate her for the helicopter flight to port. She never did regain consciousness, so we are sure she passed from this world without pain. As we remember her today and always, I'm sure that she will want us to be strong and carry on, to remember her, but at the same time to let her go. We all have a life to live, must go on. That we can leave her today with pleasant thought sums up what our mother was. A family-focused woman, a morally respectable woman. We say goodbye to our mother, a grandmother, a mother-in-law, a sister, a friend. Mom never settled, she never quit. She persevered through life with grace and love. Mom, we will keep you in our hearts forever. I'd like to also read a short poem called Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep. It was written in 1932 by Mary Elizabeth Fry that offers comfort regarding death, suggesting the departed soul lives on in nature rather than in the grave. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I'm 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on the snow. I am the sun on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awake in the morning's rush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds encircled flight. Of quiet birds encircled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Let us pray. God of all comfort, as we say goodbye, fill our hearts with your peace. Though we part in body, we remain united in love. May we hold on to this beautiful memories we shared, knowing that love endures beyond this day. Amen. And we have some flowers, if you'd like to present one here beside the urn and say your last parting thoughts silent. That'd be great. These are for the boys, right, Kathy? Yep.